Bay of Bengal. I'm now being joined by a very special guest, Raghu Murtugudde, a professor from University of Maryland, is joining us on this broadcast to basically give more details and perspective to this particular phenomenon that we are witnessing in India. Professor Raghu, thank you so much for taking the time out and speaking to us. Talking about this cyclone, and whenever we hear the word cyclone, the level of anxiety, the level of fear automatically shoots up because of the likely devastation it could cause. So from you, I really want to know your views. How big a danger are we staring at when it comes to this particular depression?
As you know, this is going off over Nicobar Islands, Port Blair, and probably heading straight up to Burma. And obviously, already Port Blair, Nicobar are facing very heavy rainfalls. Winds are in the order of 75 kilometers per hour now. I don't think they will get stronger as it moves north-northeast. It might have a very small likelihood of maybe getting away from Burma and going into Bangladesh, but most likely it's going to go up to Irrawaddy River and then go basically dissipate. Obviously, Burma has to expect a lot of inundations, storm surge. Fishermen have been advised to move away. Obviously, they should. So because Bay of Bengal is so warm and sea level is rising there as well, you're going to have excess storm surge and so on, even in Nicobar Islands. So all the disaster preparations are there. So hopefully they will minimize loss of life and so on. But one can expect power outages and road shutdowns and so on.
Right. Also, Professor, a lot of reports have emerged as to what could be the landfall site of this depression or cyclone. Government has clarified that it won't be Andamans. So do we know so far when and where it could be?
I have been looking at several forecasts. It's definitely not going to affect the Indian coast much, other than that the back winds are going to bring up some very warm weather onto the east coast, Chennai and up. But it is all likelihood, I would say it is heading straight into Burma, Irrawaddy River, where it comes and joins the Bay of Bengal. It seems to be moving right up there. So it's going to push some water up the river and cause some damage over there.
Right. Also, Professor, if this forecast actually comes through, Tropical Cyclone Asani will become the first ever tropical cyclone to hit Andaman and Nicobar Islands. For the benefit of our viewers, if you could just explain in simple terms, how is a tropical cyclone different from other kinds of cyclones?
All cyclonic circulations are same. They are named cyclones in the North Indian Ocean. They're called typhoons in the Pacific, hurricanes in the Atlantic Ocean. Because the Indian Ocean is so small, we don't tend to get them getting very powerful like the big typhoons and hurricanes do. What is uncommon about hitting Andaman Nicobar now in March is that this is the first one to hit form in March since 2000. And before that, till 1891, there were only about 8 forming in March. So in general, the pre-monsoon season is the cyclone season. But during March, the winds are not so well organized. What is common between 2000 and now is that 1998 winter, 1999 winter, and 2000 winter were all La Niñas. And we have had 2020 winter and 2021 winter, which were La Niñas. And we are probably heading into another La Niña this year. So there are some commonalities. What happens is during La Nina, the pressure trough gets set up over India, which affects the Indian winter a lot. For this year, for example, we had dust storm coming into Mumbai and Pune. We have had a heat wave coming down into Pune, which would all stay north. So that circulation is feeding into the Bay of Bengal. And because there is so much convection and so on happening, an unusual storm has formed in March, but it is not completely unheard of. So cyclonic storm in that sense is not that different, except that this one formed very early in the season. It has formed very close to the equator where the rotational effect is small, so it doesn't get very strong. Plus the winds are not very well organized, so it's just going to slide up northeast into Burma.
Right. Also, Professor Raghu, giving our viewers an overall view also of this entire subject, the phenomenon of cyclones and their frequency in the recent past have been a subject of intense discussion. Just last year, we saw almost, if I'm not wrong, 6 cyclones hitting India, including the devastating Taute and Yas. And are we looking at a similar kind of scenario this year as well?
I suspect so, except that in the last few years, the monsoon circulation has been weak, which allows the winds from the surface to the upper atmosphere to be not changing much, which allows the cyclones to grow. So you can think of cyclogenesis, where there are always seeds of cyclone being thrown into the Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea, both of which are warming very fast. So the pre-monsoon and post-monsoon cyclones are increasing. They are also rapidly intensifying because the ocean has so much heat energy available for the cyclone. As you know, the cyclone takes the energy from the ocean. And this March, even though it's early and the sea surface temperatures should not be so well organized, if you look at the February sea surface temperature anomalies, Bay of Bengal and South China Sea are above normal, much above normal. And these kind of cyclonic seeds actually can come from South China Sea into the Bay of Bengal. And then if there is enough energy available, like it is this year, they begin to grow, especially because the winds are not able to chop off the head of the cyclone because they are not well organized yet. So this is all the conditions that are happening. And climate change, of course, is something to worry about, even though we have to watch, unfortunately, for a few years to see if we will have a quiet period. For example, the post-monsoon season last year, after the crazy monsoon season, was not that active. There were 3 cyclones named, and one went across the peninsula and so on, but they didn't cause the kind of devastation with the cyclones that you mentioned in terms of Yash and